Welcome to Using Canvas to Teach Face-to-Face with Remote Option courses. This is being presented today by the Office for Academic Innovation. My name is Mahendra Rock.
And my name is Diana Benavides.
And we are going to be tag teaming your training today and jointly supporting this effort today. So thank you for joining us. This training today is going to be covering and going over how to modify and organizing your template that you're going to be receiving pretty soon for the spring semester to enhance what you're doing in face-to-face and remote option courses. So yesterday we had training on how to use Canvas and what a module might look like in a face-to-face course. Today we're adding that component of the remote option as well. A little bit of housekeeping for you today. If you have any questions, please send them via the chat. This is located on the Zoom meeting control at the bottom panel. There's that yellow box we've highlighted for you there on our PowerPoint. We also ask that you keep yourself muted throughout the session. If we're not able to answer your questions during our training today, please attend our virtual office hours, but we do have support from other members of the Office of Academic Innovation, so we'll try to ask any burning questions that you may have if you have them in the chat. We invite you always to check out LMS.TAMU.EDU. If you've not migrated to Canvas yet, there you will find resources on making the move to Canvas. There are resources there to help you to design your course and be prepared for that transition from eCampus. There are also resources there for engaging your students with Zoom, and also other resources on the different Canvas tools like Gradebook and SpeedGrader there on the Train Up section. This is a wonderful website. We've recently revamped it to make it a little bit more user-friendly for you. We've got a wonderful design team, and they've created some thumbnails for you so that you can find our video library. And Deanna's showing us there the LMS.TAMU.EDU website. As always, our calendar is at the top, and it shows you the training that we are delivering on a weekly basis, in addition to our scheduled office hours. So please check here on a weekly basis as this training does change up every week. And there at the bottom, Deanna, we're showing us the thumbnails, Canvas, proctoring, Zoom, and the other training resources. We hope today that by the end of this session, you will be able to identify best practices for organizing and modifying your Canvas modules to support and enhance your students' learning experience in a face-to-face environment that also incorporates that remote option. This is what our focus is going to be on today, and we're also going to touch on the template that you're going to receive here for the spring courses. From this point, we are going to go live and share with you what the modular templates are going to look like for you. They are still a work in progress. So what you might see today could be a little bit different than what is actually rolled out to you for the spring. But today we're going to give you kind of like a little sneak peek and also dive into how you can modify these templates for your own use. One of the modules that you will receive is the Instructor Module. This module has several templates and resources in there to help you to design your Canvas course. There you're going to find links on how to set your course navigation and review your course settings, how to even customize your cards there on your course. Within the Instructor Module, you'll also find our directions on how to include graphics within your course. You'll be able to change the buttons if you'd like to do that, add headers and footers, and be able to modify and change the pages within the course. In addition, there are some links there for you. If you have any questions about the use of Canvas, we've included those as well within the Instructor Module. So if you've not seen it yet before, we highly recommend that you go there and visit that first. The other module that you will see is actually for students. It's the Student Experience Resources module. And we're really excited about this because students really told us that they had a need for learning about Canvas and how to respond to discussions, and how to do assignments in Canvas. So we've included a really user-friendly module there for students, and when they get it, they'll actually have images that they can click on that take them to these training resources. They'll learn how to use quizzes, and they'll learn how to look at their grades within Canvas. And there'll also be some resources there on the policies, the Texas A&M policies, and resources for other departments that they can go to for extra help on Canvas. One of the extra modules that Deanna and I created for you is called a Welcome or Start Here module. Within this particular module, it is our suggestion that you create basically a kickoff to your course, a welcome to your modality. We've included a course overview page, and it is there where you will describe to students your expectations, what the overarching objectives are for your course. We've suggested that you include a page all about you, you as the instructor, and then also a page for course resources. So a page gives them the ability to go back into this homepage here and look at all the resources. Perhaps you have a link to your lecture notes there. Perhaps there's information on how often you are meeting, when you are holding your Zoom meetings for that remote session. And there's also a question board that we've created. So an opportunity for students to be able to go back to that question board and pose questions to you at any point within their course. We've also added an introduce yourself discussion opportunity for students so that you can actually get to know your students. There, they can talk about what their major is, perhaps why they're so excited to be in your course and what they're looking forward to most in the course. And so that's an idea that we've placed there for you. We've also suggested that perhaps you want to give them a quiz. A syllabus review quiz is something that we've seen other faculty members do, where they pull out the important parts of their syllabus and they quiz their students to see if they've taken the time to read about those important items in the syllabus. And also an acknowledgement of the academic integrity policy at Texas A&M. So that could be a quiz that you create. And another option for you is the semester feedback survey. So being able to gather feedback from your students is immensely important. Perhaps you want to start off the semester with some feedback from your students, like do they have internet connection? Do they have a set of headphones? How often are they able to come to campus? That sort of thing. You could also do a temperature check mid-semester and gather their feedback then, and also at the end of your course. So this is just a suggested Start Here module that Deanna and I created for you. The next module that we're going to look at is the actual modular template from Texas A&M. Again, this might look a little bit differently for you, but here you'll find it's already got some headers there. There's a weekly overview, there are weekly activities, and there's a weekly review. Again, these are just placeholders. These are just ideas for you to be able to help form that design, that initial design of your course. And what Deanna is going to do is further help to modify and define what that might look like in this particular modality. So Deanna, I'm going to pass it on to you and take it away.
Thank you, Mahindra. So thank you so much for everyone that is joining us here today. Really, it is our goal to help you, see some best practices that you can follow and practice in your classes the best way that works for you and your students. So today we are just going to take a look at how I customize this template module that you are going to have access to. Some of you have been teaching this fall semester, so you already saw this template. You're again going to have access to it in the spring semester, and you're going to be able to see how I'm customizing different items from this template, and I am going to have it work for a face-to-face with remote option class. So I am going to collapse this one, and I am going to let you take a look at my module. So I just name it face-to-face with remote option. You can customize this name the best way that works for you in your class. It doesn't have to be labeled by week. It can be labeled by unit. It can be labeled by topic. You get to name it the best way that works for you and your class. I did list the weekly overview text header. I did have the weekly activities, but as you can see, I added some extra headers, some headers that are going to guide the students. I want you to work on these activities before class. I want you to work on these other activities after class. And I am going to provide you with some optional resources. And I made it clear by writing this in capital letters. Hey, this is optional. It is not required. It is not mandatory for you to cover these additional readings. Maybe I have some extra videos, some extra articles that my students can cover in their own time if they want to dig deeper on any of the topics covered during this week. One of the driving questions for this module is how can I bring my face-to-face classes, my face-to-face students and my remote students together, right? How can Canvas help me build community and help my students feel like they're all part of this one same group of students, even though they're not physically in the same place? But how can I make them, what can I do that Canvas can help me bring and build community in my classroom? Let's just remember that our students are expressing that they're feeling isolated, right? They're feeling that they don't have enough support. Let's think of those students that need the most support. Let's think of how can we address the needs of those students that are first generation students. They've never taken an online class. They've never covered Canvas before, right? So let's make sure that we have, that we can maximize all the potential that Canvas has in helping us build our courses in a way that is going to support our students and is going to help them be successful. So utilize text headers to organize the content. Utilize the indentation to help you define what is sort of nested under those headers. So you can see that this overview and to-do list is indented and is part of this weekly overview. How can I accomplish that indentation? My 3 vertical dots are always going to give me options. And those options are increase the indent, decrease the indent. I already have an indentation in there. It's going to help me organize my content in my module. These text headers, I know they're text headers because they're not clickable, right? There is nothing to do. There's no content in them. They allow me to organize the content that comes below that. So please utilize those text headers because they're going to make sense for the student. They're going to make sense for someone because they make sense to you because you're building the course, right? If you put a list of a bunch of different tasks, content pages, assignments, and discussions, students may not really know how you want them to cover the content. But if you add some text headers, this is going to help the student follow the flow that you want them to have and the feel for your course. So utilize those text headers, and the indentation is going to be key as well. Some of the strategies that I want you to keep in mind is give your students an overview and a to-do list. That is really important. It's going to be something that maybe you decide the week starts on Monday in your course. That's the first thing that you should be taking a look at. Just have an overview, have an idea what we're going to cover this week. And then what are the things that you're going to have to do? That are the things that you're required to do before class. Maybe before class, you want the students to focus on covering maybe chunk video lectures that you have created for them and some readings, some chapters from the book that you're utilizing in your class. And you want them to work on an assignment. This can be an individual assignment with a peer review. And that's one of those ways to help your communities, like help the students, help them assess each other's work as well, help them learn from each other. And peer reviews are going to allow you to do that in Canvas. So you can set up an assignment with a peer review. Have students peer review 1, 2, 3, 4 assignments from their classmates. Create a class discussion. This class discussion can drive the topics or maybe can help address questions during the live class, right? Maybe students have some questions about a specific topic and they can place them in here. And some of these things can help drive some of the the communication that you have and the activities that you have for the live session. And then some after class activities that you can have are group discussions. And I wanted to show you how, because you might say, well, what is the difference between a class discussion and a small group discussion? This class discussion, and I'm going to click on it. It's just a template, but I just wanted you to see one key difference of this class discussion. This class discussion is going to allow everybody in the class, instructor, and students are going to be able to contribute with replies in these class discussions. If I go back in the after class activities, I have created a small group discussion. And this is something that you can decide to have for the entirety of their semester or maybe on a weekly basis. Let me scroll down here a little bit because my computer is running a little bit slow. Okay, just navigate. Okay. So you saw the class discussion is going to allow everybody to participate. But in these after class activities, I created a small group discussion. And I'm going to show you what it would look like. In this small group discussion, I have created clusters of groups of students that are going to have their dedicated discussion space. And so you can see right here at the top, this is a group discussion. Each group has its own conversation for this topic. And I, as the instructor, I have access to all of them. But every cluster of students is going to have their dedicated space, and they can work on small projects that they have been assigned. Or maybe it's a big class and you don't want them to have to scroll down for so far long, because maybe you have 100, 200 students. And so maybe it makes more sense to have smaller group discussions. So you can see that every group discussion, every cluster of group of students is going to have their dedicated space. On these small group discussions, you can see that they have access to announcements. So this is great for group projects. Students can send announcements to their classmates that they're working with. They have access to pages, so they can create their own content right here in their content pages. And I apologize, my computer is running a little bit slow. So it's taking a little bit longer to display the content, but you can see no pages created yet. The students have their own area to create content and share content that they find. And they get to see the people in the group. They get to share files. And they also have another extra collaboration space. And they can collaborate on a Google document, on a Google slide, on a Google Sheet file. Or you can start that document for the group if you want to have access to these documents as well. Okay, let me navigate back to my modules. Just navigate out of the group and out of these areas as well. Okay, there we go. So that is the difference between a whole class discussion and a small group discussion. And that's something that you can decide what works best for you. And that's also depending on the size of your class. Okay, let's see. Continue here. You can have your quizzes. You can select if you want to have maybe a low stakes exam before. Oh my goodness, I apologize. This is right spinning and it just jumps to different areas. So you can have, I place a quiz in my after class activities. You can decide if you want to have a quiz before the class or after the class. You can decide if you want to use a proctoring solution as well. And I have added the optional resources, as I mentioned before, for those students that want to navigate on a topic a little bit more. Sometimes we have students that say, I want to learn more about this topic. I want to like increase my understanding of this topic. Did you have any additional resources I can go to? So that could be a placeholder for that. Another idea that I wanted to share with you is allow the students to help you build this content, right? Why not allow students to help you build content? Why not allow students to add their notes? And this could help educate everyone. This could help everyone's understanding of any given class. So I wanted to share with you, when you're going to add a new item, you click on the plus button at the top of the module. By default, you get to add an assignment, but when you click on that down arrow, you're going to be able to see all the different items that you can add within a module. I am going to create, because I want to build community, I want to help my students be successful, and I want them to share notes. So I want my students, I know my students take really good notes, and I know other students could benefit and could learn from their classmates. So I am going to add a text header, and I am going to add a space that is going to be called student notes. And I'm not going to indent it. This is my text header. Every time I add a new item in my module, it's going to populate at the bottom of the module. So right here, I'm going to, I could leave it there at the bottom. I could drag and drop it in a different area in my module. Maybe I can leave it after class activities. I could have students contribute with notes. And what I'm going to do is I added my text header, but I am going to add a page because I want students to help each other. And I'm going to add this page. It's a new page. And I am going to say class notes. And maybe these are, let's say these are Monday class notes. And I can designate a student, or I can have a student volunteer and say, hey, can you be in charge of taking really good notes on Monday? And let's have you post those notes in our module so that other students can benefit from those notes as well. So I'm going to increase this indent. There we go. So I have that, these optional resources. Maybe I can move these at the very bottom so that it looks a little bit more organized with the indentation. Okay, so something that I wanted to say, so Monday class notes is allow the students contribute as well with their knowledge. And I'm going to click edit. And so right here at the bottom of my text editor, it's not loading yet, but it will load soon. There we go. Right here at the bottom of my text editor, I don't have to be the one that contributes with content as well. I can also let my students contribute with content. So you can see at the bottom of the pages, the content pages, there's an option. And you can allow not only the teacher, but you can let the students as well contribute, or anyone. Maybe you can just say teachers and students. You can add it to the to-do list. So students are reminded that they can add notes, right? And I can save this. And so now this content page is going to allow my students to contribute with material. And so you can tell the students contribute with other resources that you may find helpful for these week's topic. Okay, so another thing that I want to get your attention to is your course navigation. It is going to be overwhelming for a student to see all of these different tabs on the course navigation. We can see it, right? Because we have control. We're the teachers. We're the ones that control the content. But because we're the teachers, we get to see all of this. But as a student, it is going to make it so much easier if you can disable a lot and then enable only leave the things that you are really going to let the student use. So I am going to navigate to my student view, and I can show you really quickly. Let's see my student view. There we go. Let me navigate to student view. There we go. Every time you create your modules, feel free to go into student view. Every time you create a new piece of content page, feel free to navigate to that student view, and it's going to help you get that sense of what the students are going to see. So we have the home page, we have a definition, add a welcome message, maybe a welcome video. You're going to learn more about all of these different areas when we cover in detail, like how you can customize more of these templates. But going back to the course navigation, I have only left a few of the items that I want my students to cover in this class. I am going to be sending announcements, so there is my announcements tab. I want them to be able to check the syllabus whenever they need to double check what is needed in this class. The modules, the grades, so they can keep track of their progress. Zoom, because my remote students are going to need to be able to click on that link to join. Honor Lock, it is up to you. If you want to use it, you can disable it if you're not going to use a proctoring solution. And so it will be out of the course navigation for the student if you're not going to use a proctoring solution. And then I left my people page, and that is for those times when I am going to create group activities and I am going to allow the self sign up. So that's the only time that I'm going to need that people page. If I am going to be the person designated the members for each group, I don't need to leave that people page enabled. But you can see how much cleaner it is for the student to navigate. The cleaner, the simpler, the better, the more we can help the students. So, and that also helps build that cohesive structure for the students to follow. So this is what we're recommending to all faculty. I'm going to leave my student view for now. I wanted to share as well really quick that you can double check that most of our students, if you didn't know, a lot of our are using the Canvas student app. So this is one of the ways you can check that mobile view. Let me see, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to move a little bit. This is one of those ways you can check that mobile view, that menu that shows at the top, where students are going to be able to navigate those course tabs that you have left available for the students as well. Chunk those module content areas as well, so that is also easier for the student to follow on the app, and they can avoid that never-ending scroll. So that those are some of the things for you to keep in mind. So I am going to go back to my slideshow. And so just to keep in mind, just a reminder, we are going to continue with these training series for the remainder of the week. We're focusing on all of these different modalities that faculty are going to be able to choose from for the spring semester. And you know, there are some of the ways that you can learn more about our resources and where you can get more help in our social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, our YouTube channel. That's where we host all of these training recordings. AI help@TAMU.EDU if you want to email us any questions that you have. There is our phone number. And then always remember to check on the Canvas community as well for more ideas on how to work with Canvas resources.
To learn more, please visit LMS.TAMU.EDU or email us at aihelp@TAMU.EDU. Thank you.